Right, thanks speaker for a speech and invite the first speaker of closing government, the member of government.
Good day, dear ladies and gentlemen. We as a government side today are working on the core word today. This word is progress. We are studying for the progress in the science and in the particular spheres of the science. And we want to move forward. And what our opponents doing are saying always that there are other means, that there are other ways, but do not bring any disadvantages, any harms that our plan will bring to you. So in my today's speech, I'll speak about three main issues, speaking why by this plan we will achieve this progress. I will speak about advertisement, I will speak about students and professors, and moreover I will speak about the money issue. Speaking about the advertisement, our opponents always tell us that there are other ways and other methods to popularize these spheres that today are fears the lack of specialists. We claim, so what's bad if we use one more sphere? What's bad if we attract new students by making free lectures? Nothing bad. Moreover, our opponents tell us that these students will never be interested in the spheres they do not know. But this is the situation that exists today. I will never be interested in a sphere of engineering if I have to spend lots of money in trying to know what is the sphere is and losing two years of studying. What's for if I can read the lecture and see the background and later on decide whether to go to this university, to this course or not. Moreover, speaking about the students, we claim that our opponents claim that there is not enough quality of these courses, that will never be the same specialists and so on and so forth. First of all, I would like to remind you that the main aim of today's government is to attract new students to the spheres that are suffering of lack of specialists. This is the first one. Secondly, these lectures can bring more advantages, and I will show you some more of them. For example, it can help people that have some background in this sphere. For example, if I'm an engineer in some mechanics, and I know the backgrounds of mechanics, I can learn some more using the lectures of a well-known scientist and so on and so forth, and by this means enrich my background, enrich my knowledge, and improve the science in this sphere. Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am, I can improve myself, but tell me, why is it fair for me to get something for free when other students in those engineering courses are paying for and go into by being into academic spheres?
Thank you very much. These points do not contradict each other. If I want to have a Harvard degree and I want to show the papers that I've graduated from Harvard, I will go for Harvard. But if I don't have money, but I want to enrich my knowledge, I will use these lectures and do what I can do. Thanks. Moreover, this opportunity, this will be also beneficial for the professors and for the methods of teaching. Our opponents tell us that this is very bad, that we will use the methods that have been somehow created by other professors. We claim, no, this is very good, because first of all, we can use these methods, correct them, somehow adopt them, somehow bring something new to them. This will be cooperation between not only students and teachers, but between teachers themselves. They are professionals in their own sphere, and they can compare the methods they teach students and enrich them for both sides. It doesn't matter whether it is US university or the European one. Moreover, the main thing here is that for a professor to enrich, to strengthen his methodology, his methods of teaching, he has to get as many feedback from students as possible. When this is a closed group, a closed auditorium of people in Harvard, for example, and if we enrich this auditorium by European students or by free students, these professors also get the feedback from these people, and this can improve the quality of their own methods. Speaking about the money issue in today's debate, our opponents say that there are intellectual property for the methods that have been proposed today, and we will use money and investments of those who propose this method. But we claim that no, actually the thing is that this would be a stimul for those universities to make their better. This will be a stimulus to attract new students to use the best technologies they can. This will be a measure how to advertise these universities, this sphere, and attract new investors instead of today. Why today actually our opponents told us that US universities are better because they get more investment. Here, this is an instrument. How can we get these investments? This is how we, for example, University in Magdeburg can advertise its lectures, bring brilliant lectures, and by this way actually attract investors from one side, and moreover students that will pay for their classes on the other side. So by all these reasons, we will just enrich the money we can collect from the students. Yes.
Why do these top lecturers, which make the top universities stop, will not agree with the changed policies of the universities because they will not want their intellectual property rights to be disclosed to general public?
This is their problem. Well, we are today discussing the thing that there are spheres today in European universities that are suffering because they do not have both investments and students. We give them a chance to use, we give them an instrument to attract students and to get invested. What's the problem? If some of them do not want, okay, we won't make them follow our plan, but that will be their problems. So, by all reasons that my team has brought to you, we show you that we will have better education all over the world by three main reasons. Because we will advertise and attract more students in the spheres that today suffer for lack of specialists. We will give the students more information about the spheres they want to choose, they can choose, or deepen their knowledge. We will give the professors an opportunity to make their lectures even better and to improve their methods of teaching. And moreover, we will attract more money and bring more money to this field by means of investments and the number of students that will be in these universities. By all these reasons, we beg you to propose.
Right, thanks Peter for the speech. I invite the first speaker for closing opposition, now the member for opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very glad I have 7 minutes. First, the rebuttal and to the major 3 points that the second proposition has raised. So first, they say they can improve the lectures because the lecturers will obtain the feedback. We say first they can already obtain the feedback internally. They didn't provide the mechanism how more feedback is going to be collected just because you post the videos on the online, right? And they didn't show that the current feedback they get from the current students, which actually is more realistic because students have direct engagement. They also participate in other educational activities related to that professor. That feedback is more valuable, so we think other kinds of feedback might even divert the picture. So we don't think the lectures are going to be corrected necessarily in the right way. The second thing that they said is that it's going to improve the lecturers, basically the lecturers and universities themselves, particularly through advertising, because somehow universities are going to advertise better, and thus they're going to get more funding. We say if the universities would see it as a right tool to attract students and best lecturers, they would advertise it already. Currently, it's a rational decision not to advertise in the first place, right? But we say why universities do not do so, because apparently they see preserving the content they have internally as a particularly important tool to attract the best students, because exactly, if you provide the content online, then there is no worth creating for the student to pay for that education and to be the university in the first place. So that's, and I'm going to talk in my constructive how it actually decreases the content, so that's other reasons why universities do not want to use it as a kind of advertisement in order to attract those students. And that's the same, so the third point is providing more info to students. So we say, if that were the content of the universities, if that university is already not choose as a way to attract students, then there's no reason why we should just provide more info. There are other means how to advertise university simply by being, great in research, or by, by discovering things that have value in society, and this is what I'm going to show you by constructing. So basically, I want to talk about one major thing that has lots of sub-points, but this major point is why it's particularly important to match the top quality education and content in this particular respect with the top quality talent that is available out there in the world. And so first thing I want to analyze is why why that top quality talent is not going to be matched with the top quality content. And second thing I want to analyze is why it is important to match those two things. So first, the first opposition I mentioned about the competition of universities, why it's important. What we add to this is that, in general, the nature of competition between the universities is totally going to change. Because now, if the universities insofar has competed on who has the better content, right? If that content is being made public through online, then universities lose that tool of content competition, right? So what universities are going to do instead? All that's left for them is first, probably the price competition, right? Because through the content they cannot differentiate themselves, right? So it means they have to work on price. What does that necessarily mean? That is, if you compete only on price, you have to lower the price. That means you have less resources to provide good education in the first place. And the other aspect that we're probably going to compete is which university has a better campus, which university has a better sporting facilities or something like that. Because it's the only way you can differentiate yourself from the other universities if you cannot differentiate yourself on the content, because the content is already out there public, right? And the students will not agree to pay for that content as they can access it already, right? So why is that wrong, right? Because we say, in order to attract the top talents in universities, like exactly, as a bright student, as a talented student, how do I currently choose a university? Is exactly of where I can get the best education in terms of the content, right? On where there is the most value for the money I'm going to pay for that education. So now, if I know as a bright student that the university's content is going to be developed and going to appear online anyways, then I exactly will look to other reasons how to choose that university. So what does that mean? That basically we not necessarily ensure that the brightest students go exactly to the best universities because they don't choose the university according to the best content, but they choose rather the university according to the best facilities or according to the best grants, right? So that's why this match is not going to be ensured. Now, second thing, we say the match is also not going to be ensured because the education as such is going to be made as a public good, not as something exclusive. We think in order to attract the best talents to be in a higher education in the first place, we need to retain this exclusiveness of the higher education. And that's on two levels. First, we say what motivates the people to basically be in the education on our particular ground is the understanding that the education is so exclusive and it's going to guarantee me such a status in the society that I will no otherwise achieve, right? If the education through this means is being made public, that everybody can access, I will no longer see it as a bright individual education as something vital to my achievements in the society, as something vital that I necessarily have to achieve and work for in the first place. So this is the other reason why those individuals, why those brightest individuals are not necessarily going to see higher education as a particularly important field to be in the first place. And this is where this match I talked to you about, the university is not going to attract the best students, but the best students are not going to go to the higher education in the first place. That's why this match is not going to ensure. And before moving to my last point, I'm taking you.
Even if a mediocre university were to copy the methods of Harvard, Harvard would still have the better lectures, and that would be the reason why people actually want to go to Harvard.
But exactly, if the university loses, first it loses incentives to compete in content, second it loses the resources to provide the good content, because there is no students who are willing to pay for the content they would otherwise get online otherwise. So this is where this strategy happens. And now my last point. So why this match of the talent and the best education is particularly important? And in this case, I agree, we are a bit elitist. But we are elitist because that guarantees the best benefit for the societies afterwards. So why is it important? Because we say, in the universities where the best content, the most up-to-date content exists, like the best research is taking place with the most talented professors, right? you need the biggest brain in order to develop those research ideas in the first place. But the second, you need the biggest brain and the most talent in order to turn those ideas into reality, right? To discover a certain drug that can be effective in treatment, to discover a certain technology that can enhance the productivity of a certain companies, to discover a certain fabric that provides a better material from some kind of product. And the second thing, we say the synergy between the most brightest students is particularly important, because where the best results are obtained is exactly when the most talented individuals can be pulled together in one place, and thus they can discover the best ideas. Why the best ideas are important? Because we say, ladies and gentlemen, the later transcend to the rest of the society. We like to be elitists because the things that the people discover, like the drugs, like the technology, then provides access to the rest of the society, and thus the other people who do not necessarily get the higher education, they still get benefits of that, and thus their opportunities to further on and researchers for that education in the future are also enhanced. So that's why we are elitists, but we like exercise too.
Right, I thank the speaker for his speech. Invite the final speaker who's down the bench.
Thank you much, Mr. Speaker. To finalize this debate, I would like to say that there will be two major concepts for the whole round, and they will be a little bit different from the clashes that will be that were between the first part of the table and the second part of the table will be a little bit different. The first concept that we on the side of the government propose, as Margaret Thatcher once said, we're not giving a person a fish, we're giving the person a fishing rod. What we basically do for European Union and some spheres of the European Union, we improve the number of those students that are going to be educated in the spheres that are not so popular now. How do we do this? By deploying a mechanism of installing online lectures. Why will it be profitable and beneficial? Yes, of course, we agree that there are other methods of popularizing universities. But we also believe that what we stated on the side of the government is that basically, if we add one more way of popularizing and advertising universities and a speciality and a profession in the university, we believe that we create one more instrument for improving and making an incentive for people to go and study there. How does it work? Because when I'm a student, and that was explained by the second government, I think quite well, that when I'm a student, and how can I be attracted? By looking throughout of the courses and understanding what I will be teach for the first understanding what I will be doing in my profession. So by that, I can be attracted in the profession I'm really interested in. And that is quite obvious, Honorable Mr. Speaker. So we basically say that for even more for this concept is that, yes.
Okay, I really assume that people are so stupid that by reading the curriculum they do not understand what subject they will be learning.
You know what was very important? That graduating from the high school and reading aircraft engineering, you basically do not know what is the aircraft engineer, because you know general mathematics and physics, but it doesn't mean a lot. That the aircraft engineering tells a lot what you will be doing there, whether you will do theoretical physics or practical physics or etc. etc. The best way is to see the lecture. Then I'm coming up to the second, and that is basically what the first opposition was saying, that nobody knows what is going on in the universities, that no one is going to look for these lectures. And on the other hand, the second opposition brings us another concept, and here we say that, I would like to quote one great Chinese poet, that when you're planting for a year, plant corn. When you're planting for a decade, plant trees. But when you're planting for life, train and educate people. And basically, we suggest to train and educate people throughout the European Union. How do we do this? Is we basically, by our lectures, what do? We first of all share the methods of learning. That is good both for students all over the world and for the teachers all over the world. Because the teachers throughout the world will share this, will take these methods and implement in their study. No, thank you, sir. Why this good? Because the overall programs and level of education will be higher. The higher your competitors are, the better you becoming yourself. And this is how science works. This is the competition in science. The professor, the Nobel Prize laureate, is always sharing his knowledge with the auditorium. The larger and the more enormous the auditorium is, the more is the feedback. How to know the feedback? Excuse me, my personal email, my website, etc., etc., etc. And the people sharing their thinkings with me. And I'm improving my own theory. No, thank you. So, by that basically, on that point, they tell us that universities have this intellectual property, guys, and because of this intellectual property, they won't share, and you shift away the competition of contents. No, sir, exactly on the opposite side, because our opponents rejected the view that will be the fact that the universities will be competing with each other in methods of education for every next lecture showed online to be better than the previous one. Better than the previous one in the lectures that they're doing, in the methods of teaching, in the quality of those material that is distributed, in all of other issues. And that is how the competition works. What we say, if you look for example, for this university, for private university as a business, what do we have in the end as a product? We have our professionals. But at the same time, Magdeburg University, what was mentioned, has the second, is the university which is the second by the amount of the Nobel Prize holders all over the world. But at the same time, who of you knows that everyone knows MIT? And only a few people know only of the Magdeburg University. At the same time, MIT has online lectures for all of the physicists and Nobel Prize laureates. So why we should be doing the same in Europe and popularizing the spheres to improve in these technological issues as good as the other countries improve? Yes, please.
Show you reasons why the content is not going to be created in the first place. Like, there's nobody paying for that, and then there's no incentives to compete on it.
Yes, I'm coming to this point. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for mentioning this. You say that if the person looked for the lecture, he doesn't want to know anything more. He won't go to the university. But do you know that there are differences that not only that knowledge is the very reason, but people go to the university also to achieve relations and a friendship with those who they meet. They go to receive a diploma, and this diploma gives them an opportunity to apply for a work. No matter how, sometimes no matter how clever you are, but you will never go for the NASA without a diploma of MIT or some other technological university. This is that is expected to be respectful. By that, also by these lectures and by improving themselves, the universities which are not as popular as USA universities will also raise their level, that those who offer jobs for specialists of these universities will be interested for their headhunting in these universities. And we will improve the salaries and the conditions for the students to come up and go further for the better jobs. Now what I started explaining and haven't finished is that about what do we have inside the universities. Yes, why do we need these online lectures more than just for the progress sake? Yes, because we have some people with the background. Yes, we have some past specialists that are currently working, for example, in NASA, in Baikonur, no matter where. Yes, and these people need to improve their knowledge, or sometimes to revise their knowledge, or sometimes to share their knowledge. Yes. And these people, through these lectures, will be able to go hand in hand with those progress that is currently appearing in the world, in the theoretical sphere especially. What we see, basically, by the end of the day, and we're making a clear cut, that those universities and students benefit, although we promote the global progress for education. So, for no major disadvantages of the case, we beg you to propose the motion. Thank you.
Right, thanks speaker for your speech, the final speech of this debate, and I invite the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, 3 points to summarize this debate. First of all, how do we treat intellectual property? Second of all, how do we make education better? Third of all, what will be the outcome of this policy? So we started this debate by telling us that some important courses are unimportant to a particular group of individuals. We say that by only putting them online, we do not see how those courses will be interesting for those individuals. We don't think that not being online is the only reason why those courses are not interesting. We say that even if you think that those courses are so important that we should advertise them, do just that. Advertise them more. Create a more media coverage, make more advertisements and so on and so forth. They claimed in the second half that individuals don't know what courses they will be taking in, and they have to see them before they can go on. First of all, say that curriculums already explains what you will be teaching. We say, if you are after that not able to understand what you are going to learn, then probably you should not learn that subject in the first place, because we say that those who want to learn that subject in the first place are probably already common with what they are going to learn anyways. The second thing they told us is that US universities have the advantage over the European universities, and they brought this example of Oxford and Cambridge. We don't think that Oxford and Cambridge are disadvantages to the US universities, and Oxford and Cambridge are very prestigious universities. We think that even if you have something like Netherlands University, even if that university is putting its own lectures online, it will not be competitive to Harvard because it is simply a worse university comparing to that in the US. But more than that, then they told us in a POI that Harvard would be Harvard because of its quality of education. We say, if this is true, how your policy is changing something, you cannot take both of those sides at the same time. So what do we tell you on this point of how do we treat intellectual property? We told you on the first opposition that we do not do that by revealing hard work to anyone, because we say that universities and those professors have the autonomy and the right over the property of their intellectual thoughts. We added in our extension that by doing that you make education generic. You remove the incentive for the bright minds to go to the university because it is no longer seen as exclusive. This is no longer seen as something unique that I cannot get elsewhere. It's seen as something generic, it's seen as something that anyone can get. In the sense when we comparing and when we adding that individuals have to pay a lot of money for that, it becomes questionable for those individuals whether it is worth it. The real harm that we do not acknowledge that will come out of that is that we will lose bright minds. They will choose to go and to do other things rather than to go to the university. For example, going straight at work, or for example, going and doing other stuff in other fields. To the second question of how do we make education better? We say that we do not make it by diminishing the value of those education. And they told us that qualified individuals are left out. We say, first of all, this is not true to the fullest extent that they wanted to present to us. We say that a lot of individuals get in. We have the example of Martin getting into Harvard from a small country such as Estonian. It's a perfect example of how those individuals are able to go. We say that, second of all, there are a little amount of those people, and they also have a second try. If you're not getting in this year, you probably should be studying a lot more, and you will probably get next year. But lastly, on this point, we think that if you have this system, if you have a problem with the system of administering people, getting in, we'll fix that system. Why are you putting the lectures online? We don't see that. Now, what we told you in extension on the point of how we do make education better is straightforward. We need to match best content with the best students. And that is why we do have these admissions, and that is why we do have these exams in second semester. Now, why do we need that? We need that because we acknowledge that education is only meaningful when, by providing a tool for a better life, which education is, we take something in return. We ensuring that those individuals are able and willing to use that content to benefit the society. Arvid has already brought you the example of technological advancement, of economical advancement, of such things as researching new drugs, which later cure humanity, and so on and so forth. This is only able when those individuals understand and are able to work with the content presented to them. We say that it will never happen under their policy. Yeah.
Okay. Even if the nature of the competition between the universities changes, why is this more important than the economic goods that we get from actually having now workers that Europe needs?
Okay. Well, there are hundreds of assumptions in that POI, because you've never told us why those workers will exist in the first place. And an interesting subject will be an interesting subject nevertheless. And secondly, we think that if this is your problem, we've already shown you that there are vast majority of other ways how to achieve that very goal, not putting that content online, not creating that harm in the first place. Now, what will happen in the end if we will make that policy? And they told us in the extension that it will boost cooperation between professors, and we say that no, professors are not that stupid. If they think that cooperation is beneficial, they're probably cooperating right now. Putting lectures online is not the thing that they are missing in order to cooperate. The second thing they told us that, oh, the feedback will be better. Well, Arvidas already told you that the proper feedback they are receiving are probably from the students that are already in the university. And secondly, if they need that feedback so eagerly, yes, we will probably put up that content on their websites, and some of the professors are already doing that. Now, second point is that university will be more popular by attracting individuals and so on and so forth. I already explained you how that will not be the case, because the content which will be there will not be new. So universities not being able to compete on the content will now compete on something else. And we have told you already that the competition will be hard on the first opposition. To that we added that the competition will transform into universities attracting students by not the academic content, but something like which has nothing to do with that content in the first place, such as lower prices of the university and nicer facilities. We say this is not the way how those bright individuals will be matched to the best content. It is a clear harm on our side. Because of that, we are opposed.